Hey, it's Mike from Darkest Hour, and you're watching metalpaths.tv.
Hello, I'm Giorgos from metalpaths.tv. I'm here with Mike from Darkest Hour. Thanks for this interview.
No, thank you. Okay. I'm very excited to be in Greece. It is, after all, one of our favorite places to play in the world.
Okay.
Not just making that up. I don't just say that every interview.
That's totally true, I'm sure.
No, there's a couple hot spots, and Greece is one, man.
Okay.
People's passion for heavy metal here is second to none.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few other places in the world, but pretty close.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, earlier this year you guys released your 9th studio album, is that right?
Yep, it is the 9th full length.
Okay, how was the reception so far? Talk about...
Well, it's really interesting. I love every album, but this album especially has gotten a lot of really good acclaim, critical acclaim, if you will. The internet seems to love it, and people come to the shows and love it, but people who love the albums are always the ones at the shows. So this is a unique Darkest Hour in the sense that I believe it is the one that the internet has loved the most.
Yeah.
So it being our latest album, we're very excited about that response because it's just sort of hard to keep getting everybody's attention. And when you're on your 9th album and you have a lot of people calling it your best,
yeah,
it feels good, you know?
I bet. All right. Throughout the album we can hear a bunch of new influences as well as old ones that kind of resurface, like thrash metal riffs and black metal progressions, even a little bit of hardcore.
There better be a little bit of hardcore.
Yeah, I agree. Is that kind of experimentation something we can, get used to in the next Darkest Hour albums?
Well, I don't think there's anything you can ever get used to with Darkest Hour because our goal is to constantly try to change every album, even when we find something that people like a lot. As artists, as a 40-year-old man who's dedicated his life to making heavy metal, I wouldn't be here if I didn't feel creatively and artistically fulfilled by taking a few chances. And this album, although it is critically acclaimed and people love it, we did take a lot of chances on it. Self-funding it, doing the crowdfund thing, going to Kyriakopoulou, and just kind of letting the band internally drive the ship was a really big risk, because on the album before, the self-titled album, which was on Sumerian, it's really easy for us to hide behind the fact that they had a lot of input on that album. Whereas this time, there's nowhere to hide. Like, this is Darkest Hour's album. We were 100% in control, and that is a big risk. So I think people can get used to the idea that we're always going to make heavy metal, melodic death metal, thrash metal, hardcore. I mean, these are all the elements that make Darkest Hour, but every album is a reaction to the last and a culmination of all the people that are involved. So on this album, you have the band, you have the fans who crowdfunded it. There were 1,531 of them. And you have Greg from Southern Lord, who helped, carry the ball the extra of the way at the end and put everything together. Kyriakopoulou from Converge. And actually Darkest Hour's manager, who in the beginning was the one who convinced us that it was our turn to take the reins. So, and that is why this album is this way, and every album will be different, because not every album ever has the same team.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
You kind of answered my next question, though.
What's that?
You've been around the world and back regarding record labels, right?
We've released 9 different albums on 11 different record labels.
Yeah, why is this? What has been your experience with record label that made you, kind of swing back and forth between...
Well, I think to piggyback on the idea of never wanting to do the same thing, the idea that the team of people around every album does affect it, I really think kind of pushes us to try different labels, try different marketing techniques. And so I think we were trapped on Victory for a decade, Victory Records from Chicago in the USA. And having survived that experience, we're actually kind of excited to try other things and try other labels. And so after jumping around and realizing that a label is mostly what you make of it, we realized that, we could do this ourselves. Although we did have the help of Southern Lord, so in the end we did have a label kind of help us.
Okay. Okay, that answers my question. About the crowdfunding, why did you decide to release it yourself this time? No.
Well, I mean, 9 albums, 21 years of being a band, and every time you make an album, someone has an opinion. Internally, I don't think people realize that when record labels fund albums, they don't just give you a free, key to the Maserati and tell you just take it out for a spin. They're involved. Like, when they pay for something, they want something. And so no matter what band you are, there's something about that exchange that affects the album. And so I think we were looking for a unique way to sort of get in touch with the people that really care about the band. And crowdfunding, although I was very hesitant to it at first, I have been the guy who's been the Darkest Hour administrator, sitting there with the keyboard, writing everybody to make sure they get their packages, figuring out whose address is messed up. And I will say that this has completely been a unique way for us to find those people, interact with them, build a bridge with them in a way never before. Because when you buy this Darkest Hour album, you are getting it from us. It is going to us in a very unique way that's different. And we were scared, but I think it really paid off.
Okay, that's cool. You guys have been in tour with Parkway Drive and Stick Your Guns. How has been the experience so far?
This is great. Nobody asked me this question. This is perfect. First of all, we took Parkway Drive, I believe, on their first European tour ever, when no one knew who they were, and we're good. Their booking agent is our booking agent, all really a tight family, and he came to us and said, hey, I got this great band. Their tour either got canceled or they didn't have one. Can we add them? Can we add them? And of course, that's the type of dudes we are, like, no problem. And then if we had known that they were going to blow up and be this super huge band, we probably would have treated them a little better. But, then later we took them on tour in America, and on that tour, Stick to Your Guns was on. So everybody met again on that tour. But now the tables have turned. Parkway Drive's become a powerhouse, and I want to say, so that everybody can hear it, that those guys have done nothing but treat us with the utmost respect, rolled out the red carpet for us. Their crew is completely helpful. We have no complaints. It's been a great time. Same with Stick to Your Guns. It's like a family out here, and it's just been a pleasure. And we've done a lot of tours where the headlining band sets the tone of the tour. And this is the music business, so it can get ugly out here, it can get competitive, but Parkway Drive is not scared. They are willing to share and are great dudes. So it's kind of just been a blur how fast it's gone. And I don't know. We're also, I will say that they're fans. Parkway Drive fans, like the people at the shows, are great. They're intelligent, well-meaning, well-rounded, all types of people. Metalheads, hardcore kids, punk kids. It's really refreshing to see that they've made a little community. And we love the death metal, the heavy metal. We love playing with Cannibal Corpse and Cataclysm and Belphegor and heavy-ass dark bands. But this has been a refreshing tour because you'll see a lot of women at the shows. You'll see a lot of younger kids. It's just nice to see a mixed group of people all enjoying heavy metal. And that's what you can expect at a Parkway Drive show. And that's what you can expect at a Darkest Hour show. So it's been a great tour, and no one has asked me why. How is it until now?
I hope that's not sarcastic.
No, not at all.
Okay, that's awesome. Metalsax.net posted an article that reads 7 guitarists that would be happy to see join at the gates.
Oh yeah, made that list.
You were on that list.
Yeah, trust me, I was stoked to make that list.
Okay. Will you be interested in
doing
doing
man,
that?
That's rough. Like,
Opportunity
okay,
ever came up.
Anders is a riff god,
Yeah.
and he bled at the gates, and it's hard because we have changed members. We have changed writing members. I mean, we've been through it, so I believe At the Gates could do it. But do I want to step into that firing line and put my reputation on the line to try to be able to concoct riffs and songs better than I think the master has? I don't know, man, because my heart's in this band, and I've kind of dedicated so much of my creative energy to this that I think it would be really obvious. It would start to sound like Thomas Lindbergh singing over Darkest Hour. But That is no way not to say that I wouldn't love to jam with those dudes, because
Okay.
they are the best, you know.
That's what I thought.
We toured with At the Gates, and I had never got to see them before they broke up the first time, and it really pulled it together as soon as we got to do that reunion tour with them, because I never understood how tight and how amazing and how clear it all could be.
Right.
And then when you're crushed with it, it's euphoric. It's like the best drug in the world when you're standing in that audience going, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And I wish those guys the best, because that is one of my all-time favorite bands, and Anders is one of my all-time favorite riffers, and Tomas is one of my all-time favorite singers. So it's sad to see the team split up, but I mean, I'm a fan, so I'll be just like you, just like everybody else, checking out that first single when it comes out, you know.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Now there's a question everybody hates to answer.
Really?
Yeah, and
Can't wait.
I do it anyway because I'm an asshole that way.
Like your style.
Yeah. What is your favorite band to tour with?
Favorite band?
If you have to make, give me one.
I got
name.
one.
Okay.
All right, ready? Look, he made me pick favorites, so I just want to say, for the record, that you made me pick a favorite band.
Okay.
But I would say my all-time favorite band to tour with would be the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Actually, you're not the first person to give me that same.
Well, they are one of the best live bands in the world, but there's no other band in the world that holds a record for having played more shows with this band over a longer span of time. We played with them at the beginning of the 2000s. We played with every singer that they've had, Dimitri and Greg, and we played with Arcane, the band that was before Dillinger. So either way, they're like brothers. I mean, we have a lot of bands like that we've toured with a lot, but there's not few that I would be afraid to play after. There really isn't that many bands that I've seen a concert from, I've done a tour with, where we don't feel like, well, given the right light show and the pyro, we could bring the heat. But man, Dillinger Escape Plan, they're electric, and it's addicting to be around their energy, because they are great guys and they are dedicated to one thing, which is fucking up that show and just making it memorable. And so that's who I would pick, man. That's my band.
Okay. Now I want to talk about the album title.
Okay.
It's silently interesting. What is the story behind the title?
All right. Check it out.
All right, let's go.
When you're writing songs, especially lyrically, sometimes it's better, or it's easier to get a point across if you write something that isn't autobiographical. So if you notice on some of the albums, especially Undoing Ruin and Deliver Us, these are very like personal albums about inner struggle, things that John has been through, you know? And then if you look at some of the other albums, Hidden Hands of a Sadist Nation, it's a little more outwardly like focused on the way the world was at the time. Although there are songs like Payphones and Pills that are very internal about relationship stuff. I mean, the personal is political, so we will dabble in both, right? Mark of the Judas is sort of more conceptual about the war on religion and sanity in the world. But this album, we wanted to try something different. We wanted to try to express how we felt about things in the world, things in our lives, but we wanted to do it more in story form because we'd never done this before. So Godless Prophets and the Migrant Flora, everything has sort of a dual meaning. On the surface, you could read the lyrics for any song and they'll stand apart as a song that could just mean something to your life. But read together in a voice of a character, you will almost kind of unfold this story. And inside the story, without giving too much of it away, there are two main forces that kind of react against each other, and they are the Godless Prophets and the Migrant Flora. And so, metaphorically, you could say the Godless Prophets could be us. The Godless Prophets could be people in charge of the United States government and all the other governments of the world that are fucking everything up. Or you could say the Godless Prophets is the main character in the story. And the Migrant Flora character is kind of like either the natural order of things or Mother Nature or whatever you want to tie into that. And this Migrant Flora idea is actually based off a scientific idea that plants are actually the most evolved life form on the planet because they travel over continents without legs. They have dominated the cover of the earth for the entire time it's been here, and even after so-called, nuclear apocalypse, there probably will be some vegetation left as long as we don't completely just blow the planet up. So in the album storyline, these two forces interact with each other in a lot of ways that we've seen modern society interact with the world in general, and I think that will kind of paints a picture enough for people to dive in and try to explore it, which is what we want people to do, because I don't want to just sit here and tell you what the songs are about. I want people to be able to read the lyrics and kind of find something that means something to them in them. And lastly, this album, the title, the lyrics, the concept, it's not for the iPhone generation, in the sense that you're not going to see it and get it and move on from it. You've got to dig into it and figure it out. And if you don't want to, it's going to seem like a bunch of words we put together and you're like, what the hell does that mean? But you're supposed to think that. So you actually have to think about what it means, because in a reaction to some of the other things we've done, we just don't want it to be that obvious. We want it to be something that interacts with your brain and makes you feel something in that sense. So in conclusion, it is a narrative story, but there are also songs that mean shit directly, and I think it's obvious when people dig into some of that. But
all right, okay.
What's the problem?
One last question.
No,
Okay.
it's
All right.
fine.
All right.
Dude. It's all good.
Last question. Okay.
Is this the last one, or do you have two more?
No, it's
right.
actually the last one I've written
All right,
down.
because I will answer them all.
Okay. This is the second time you come to Greece. Is that correct? Or am I wrong?
The seventh?
The second. Third. Okay, I'm missing one. What is what is your opinion about the food here, the nightlife, that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I already told you how much I loved Greece, but I'm going to tell you again, because it's just our type of place, man. We like to play the show, and then we like to go and stumble out into the street with everybody at the show and then just party, hang out, get loud, get excited. And people like that are like that here. Like, it's interesting because there is a very, like, a wow factor. I think it's because we are foreign. I think it's, people are obviously fans, but it doesn't get in the way of them talking to you like a regular person. And this happens in Eastern Europe too. In America, it's very easy to meet people. They want you to sign their bodies. They want to take a bunch of photos with you. But to have a literal, real conversation with them is sometimes hard, because you're just a character to them, right? But here in Greece, even if somebody has a big-ass Darkest Hour tattoo on their forearm, they still can have a great conversation with you at the bar. You can still have an awesome time. And so we have turned people that were promoters, that worked at the shows or whatever, into some of our closest friends. We toured with a Greek band called Suicidal Angels.
Oh yeah, I know.
And they're great dudes. We're hoping to see a couple of those fools out, or some of their crew guys, whoever's left in Greece. I know some of them may have moved, but we again can't stress like how shocking it is to come somewhere and just feel the energy off people, because it's not like that everywhere. People don't necessarily feel the passion for just heavy metal in general. But the food is awesome. Like, we like the ouzo, right? That's how you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, normally I'm like, I've drunk too many before I'm trying to say it, so. But we like that. We love doing sightseeing here. Is pretty amazing. I think we saw the oldest thing we've ever seen and taken a picture of. I mean, a little known fact, we are actual tourists. Part of the reason why we like doing this is because we like meeting people, learning about cultures, seeing. It's not just about like getting a photo for your Facebook or your Instagram. It's like interacting with the history. And also, probably the most important thing that I think that we do right now as a band is go places. We are clearly a pack of loud Americans. Like, I hate nation states, I hate flags, and I hate nationalities, but I have to identify as an American because I have this passport to go through these bullshit borders.
Yeah.
And so when I have to come here, unfortunately I wear that title with shame right now because of the way it is, but I have a chance. I'm not on TV, and there's a bunch of people here, so we have a chance to show people what other Americans think. We are crazy Americans, but we're your type of crazy American. And as 5 white, male, naturally born, heterosexual Americans who are basically, if you prescribe to this line of thinking, the most entitled, privileged people you're going to get. It's important for us to go around and say, we realize that. We are ready to help anyone break all of these rules. And more importantly, music and the music that we make is, in our opinion, more unifying and has the ability to possibly even stop wars more than religion or politics. Because when you come to a Darkest Hour show, people's guards are down and you can actually interact with them in that kind of way. So we are, in some senses, ambassadors for the places that we live, because we don't necessarily hate America. Like, I love my community that where I live in Tacoma Park, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. I love all my neighbors. They're all different types of people. They're all from all over the world. So I think we just want to give people another impression of what's happening, because now more than ever, it's important to kind of spread that kind of idea, because shit is getting kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And so one place we love to come is to Greece to do that, because people are open and they're willing to talk about those ideas. And you guys have suffered and been through a lot here as a country as well, and it's important to bring the stories about what you guys have been through and the things you guys say to other people. In 2 weeks I'll be in France and I'll be talking to somebody like, well, yo, these guys in Greece said blah blah blah, and
Right.
because it's not all on the internet, it's not on TV. Sometimes you got to get dirty and get out there and actually make friends with people.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, it is fortunately, because this is the best thing about being in a band, is being able to interact with people and meet people from all over the world that you never would have had a chance to before.
Okay, that's all I had. Thanks a lot for this.
Yeah.
I hope you give us an awesome show.
You don't got to hope for that. This is what we do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's going to happen, bro.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Okay, bye.